Hey everybody, Marvin the Magician here. Today I'm turning invisible.
Yeah, I'm invisible. Yeah, I am. I turned fucking invisible. I'm totally not behind the camera. And today we're gonna be reviewing Revenge of the Invisible Boy, which may or may not be this one kid in my crowd. And why am I talking like that? And why am I behind the camera?
Don't mind my stupid shirt. Hey everybody, Goosebumps for Dummies here. Back at it again with another video. That's what I'm talking about. Do you remember this book? Do you remember this one? No? I'm not gonna judge you, man. Revenge of the Invisible Boy. Good cover, I'll admit. I really like the cover. I like what they did there. Oh god. This is one of those books that I forget. Not only stuff about the story, because some of the story I've forgotten like 30% of it. This one I forgot so much that I forgot to do a review on it sooner. I read this in October and I planned at the time to do it in like November, December. And I just keep like, oh yeah, I'll do that next month. I'll do that next month. Because I keep remembering it like every so often. And it's gone to the point where I've just lost my shit. It's always around the time when I am not scheduling is when I remember these. So luckily I was able to remember to actually schedule this, alright? Yeah, this book is that hard to remember. I barely think about it, and when I do, it's usually not a great time. Yeah, this book I almost never think about, and for good reason. There's not a lot to, there's not a lot to like here, so let's get to it. And now for the blurb. Magic Club is supposed to be fun for Frankie Miller and his friends, but that past Ari Goodwin is always ruining everyone's tricks. After a really embarrassing fail, Frankie wants revenge. When the legendary magician, Mystical Marvin, the guy I was trying to begin the intro but sucked ass at, so, by the way, I think it might be Italian, so... Mario, what the fuck you doing? Anyways, comes to town to perform his daring stunts. Frankie sees an opportunity to get even with Ari. There's only one problem. Everything goes wrong. Can Frankie and his friends make things right, or will the opportunity disappear forever? Oh boy. Yeah, this is easily the most forgettable book in the franchise, if not one of the most forgettable books in the entirety of Goosebumps. This is up there in books I don't think about, like Head You Lose. I almost never think about that book. Ever. The Five Master Doctors Scream, for being a special edition too, I never think about that. When I think about it, it's usually like, oh yeah, the cover's good. By the way, I actually reviewed that one, so go watch that one. And maybe some 90s books like Scream School. Do you remember Scream School? You don't even know the title? I'm not surprised, because yeah, this is definitely up there in invisible books, if you know what I mean. Yeah, who the fuck remembers this? I have no clue. Because I don't really remember this one at all. But, well, I mean, I remember the story, but to be fair, I don't think about it, because it's just not memorable. Let's just get to the upsides. So for my upsides for this book, the first 40 pages were actually pretty darn decent. I thought the Mystical Marvin scene when we first got to see him was actually really fucking cool. I really liked the stuff that followed after a little bit, like the turning invisible stuff and going backstage. Some of the other shenanigans, but it doesn't hold up later into the book, but yeah, the first like 40 pages or so, pretty good. I really like that, and Mystical Marvin's cool. I guess he's his own little upside. And another thing, my only other upside, god, there's only two, man, if you don't count Mystical Marvin, since he's a cool-ass magician. I actually really like this character. The invisible aspects were actually really decent here. I think they were handled very well. There was a lot of funny scenes and interesting moments. I think there was a scene where he's riding his bike. Just, you know, he's invisible, so it's kind of weird. Cars stop and crash into each other because they're just so freaked out. Yeah, it's a great scene. And there's some other pretty good scenes in there, too. It's very fun, too, at times. So I'll give it that when the invisible nonsense is going on. But that's about it. There's not a lot great about this book, and there's a few more things I want to mention that are kind of negative. The story is insanely bland overall, so I think the first 40 pages in the Invisible Shenanigans are pretty good, but even in those first 40 pages, we just have a dumb magic show, which is reminiscent of the Night of Living Dummy plays and shit. Always going wrong, of course. Slappy causes chaos. In this case, it's some kid who doesn't like this other kid. It makes him fall and, like, break his leg or something. Okay, no, but still, something similar to that. It's just bland, especially later into the book, I feel. It's, oh, I'm scared, oh no, I'm invisible, and then there goes into a mad scientist kind of plot. There's some science involved. An uncle pulled out of someone's ass. You'll understand. And just some weird shit, man. It's not a great later part of the book, and might I add, the later part of the book itself is a whole lot weaker than the first half, or any parts of the book that aren't, the final parts of the book. Yeah, I think chapters 20 and on are, like, really fucking weak. I don't really like much of the later book. Not a lot of good stuff happens, and yeah, it ain't that great. I don't really like the ending. I thought it was kind of stupid, and I don't really have much more to say for downside besides the fact that the book was just not really good. I know. I already said I really like some stuff, but the book's just not a good book, man. It's just, kid turns invisible. Doesn't like being invisible after a little bit. Big what? Yeah, not a lot of stuff happens. It's really bland, boring. It gets weaker as it goes on. And there's just not a lot to it. It's a really boring book because there's not a lot really interesting happening. And yeah, I wouldn't recommend picking this up, I'll say that. It's not worth your time. It feels like a waste of time even. It's just a little fun at times. And yeah, obviously not the greatest of books. Let's move on to the rating. I'm going to be semi-generous, but also semi-harsh. I'm going to give this a 5.5 out of 10. I don't know what it is with this book. There's just not a lot to like here. It's boring. Yes, it's boring. I said it. But it's got some good moments, but it's got a way weaker final half or whatever. And it's got decent characters, I guess. I like Mystical Marvin, is cool, and the scene involving him, the main scene, his actual stage appearance, is really fucking cool. But it's just not a great book. It's kind of a bad story, even. It's just, oh, turns invisible, big whoop, does shit. And the title doesn't even have anything to do with the book. It's just a play on the movie title thing that got the end. Yeah, no. Not a great book. Pretty mid. Since it is 5.5, that's like almost as mid as you can possibly get. 5 out of 10 is the middest of Goosebumps, I'd say. And trust me, there is a middest of Goosebumps. I have a couple books in that area, so look out for reviews with 5 out of 10s. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tell me what you think of Revenge of the Invisible. I forgot the title because it's just so unmemorable. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.